Well, good morning everybody. It's Brad from Firewood at the Furnace. Welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to, we got a couple things we got to get done today. We've got a bunch of wood in the wood yard here that needs to get stacked. And the tree service called and said that they've got some maple trees. So that's on the agenda today. We'll get the dump trailer hooked up so that we're ready to go when they call. And then we'll come over. We've got a lot of ash that's split ready to be stacked and a lot of oak that's ready to be stacked. So stick around. All right, so that's all hooked up, and here's what's on the agenda today. We've got this ash here that we split up a couple weeks ago that you saw on a video. And we're going to get all that stacked this morning because that's going to be a spot where when we come in with the tree service wood today, that'll be a spot where we can dump. So we'll get that cleared out first. That's going to get stacked right back in that section there. And then down here where all the oak and the ash was, we've got all of this down here to get stacked. This is all oak here in the first pile. That's definitely over a cord. Probably close to 2 cords. There's a little bit of cherry here that will move up the row a little bit where I've got a cherry stack that's not filled in. And then we've got the ash here. In the meantime, we'll get the pallets set up for our sections. I'll show you how I do that. And we'll see what we can get done before you go with me on the road to get some tree service wood. All right, so I got you set up here at the front of row 3. We're going to try to get this row finished up. This oak, or this ash, has been sitting here for quite a while, a couple weeks, and I've been concentrating on getting some other stuff split up down in the yard when I have a moment. But we'll get all this stacked up, and that way we can dump the tree service wood right in the same spot where this is laying. And that'll probably help out a good bit. I'll show you here in a few minutes, but it's about the time of the year when you got to get the wood stacks covered up before the snow flies. They're calling for a little bit of a wintry mix here in the next couple of days. So I think it's time to get the stacks covered, and I've already started on that. And if you remember last year, I used the clear plastic to cover the stacks, and that worked okay, I guess. But sometimes where I have my wood yard here in the middle of this field, you know, wind is your friend and your enemy. Because while the wind certainly does a great job of helping the wood season and dry, when you're trying to keep plastic covers on your wood piles, even with, you know, extra scrap pieces of wood weighing it down, it still gets kind of blown around, tore up a little bit, falls down in between the stacks. So what I'm going to try this year, and what I'm trying this year, is roofing metal. A lot of people use that, but I came across some that I got for free, and while I don't have enough to do everything in the yard, I've got definitely enough to do a row or so. So here in a few minutes I'll show you the roofing metal that I got and what I'm doing to cover my stacks this year. So I'll speed you up, put you on time lapse. We'll get this ash stacked. Before we start on the oak and the ash down there, I'll show you my stack covers. So I get a lot of questions and emails, not all the time, but every once in a while, questions come through and say things like, why do you stack your wood? You handle your wood too much. Why do you measure your wood? And those are all valid questions, and I get it. People want to know why, because there's certainly an easier way or a quicker way, maybe more efficient way to do it. But the reasons why I like to stack my wood and measure my wood are because when it comes time to load my orders, everything's pre-measured. I know the customer's going to get what they're paying for, and to be honest with you, it just looks nice. If I was in an area not next to the house, or a industrial area where it's just business property, then maybe just running your wood up a conveyor and letting it pile up on the ground, maybe that's what works for you. But in my situation, that doesn't work for me, because we're right here next to the house. The road runs right, well, you see the road in the videos, out across the field, and I just think it looks nice. So that's why I stack and measure all my wood. Now, as far as handling the wood goes, I know I handle it too much, that's for sure. But with the equipment that I have and the resources that I have, I think I'm trying to do it the best way that I can. I try to dump the wood when the logs come in. I try to put the wood where I think it's going to be stacked, and that works out most of the time, but sometimes it doesn't. And in those situations, I'll split it and put it in the back of the little yard trailer with the four-wheeler and move it. Or if it's a lot of wood, I will split it into the dump trailer, then move it to where it needs to be and dump it. But that's just how my operation's going right now. And maybe someday, I don't know. I don't know where all this is gonna go. But I might have a tractor, or as Larry Hoddle likes to tell me, I need a skid loader. And that would be awesome. But this is what I got. So this is what I do. We'll put you back on time lapse. Let's keep stacking. All right, so that's 2/3 of a cord. And here's what's left out of that pile. I think we'll probably get close to another 1/3 of a cord out of that, which will give us a full cord out of that one load. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to set up a couple more pallets, create another bin here, and then we'll stack. All right, so here's what I do. I'll show you on this one since all those logs are in the way over there. But I just take basically a piece of scrap pallet. I knock off one of the slats on a pallet, and I just use those for my support braces. I put a nail on each end, top and bottom, and then I run a couple of nails across the bottom of the pallet to attach it to the floor. And one thing that I started doing is these pallets that I used to pass up, these smaller pallets here, I'll grab a few of them because I can just knock the nails out of each side of these smaller pallets and use them for my support braces. So that's pretty much it. It's simple and it works great. That's the last of it. I said that was about a cord of wood, and you can see how short we are. Not by much. I'd say that's pretty close. That's about as close as you can get without making it. So here's where the pile used to be, and you just watched me stack that full cord. Took probably 45 minutes to an hour, I'm thinking. So I don't know if we're going to get to all that down there because we still got to go pick up tree service wood. So we'll get to that next. So I told you I would talk to you about the roofing metal that I'm using this year. Well, here it is. This is row 3, and I've got just about all of row 3 covered so far. Got a little bit more metal down there I can still use. But this is some scrap metal a friend of mine had from a roof that he did. And just so happened he had several long pieces that were just wide enough for a stack of firewood, so I definitely took him up on that offer. So you can see I got the scrap pieces just stacked on top of here. The chunks and cookies and the bigger stuff that I had in my IBC totes down here at the end of the row that I use basically for boiler wood, or if people want chunky, knotty campfire wood, I give that to them too. But this is all going to work out better. I hope the wind doesn't get up underneath of that and blow it, because that's like a razor blade flying through the air if it does. I'm keeping my eye on it. If I need to put more chunks on it, I've got plenty down here in these totes. So let me know what your experience is with the metal, if you have it covering your firewood and it's in the middle of an open field area, and how it acts with the wind. Do I have enough wood on here, or should I put more? Let me know. It's just about time to go get some tree service wood. I'm going to clean some stuff up around here real quick off camera before we leave, and we'll see you at the job site. Comes the first log in the grapple. It's mostly maple, and a well broke on the grapple there, so it's going to be interesting to see if it holds up to get me loaded. Right there on the right side of the grapple, that tong there in the middle, there's a weld. The bottom half of that tong is welded to the rest of the grapple, and the weld just cut loose. So I'll set you up. You can watch them load me. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed that the loader man can keep loading me. Got one more tree to drop. He's got the 500i on it. We'll drop this one last log. It's mostly maple, and I think I saw a little bit of poplar mixed in with it. But that little machine, I think they call it the Dingo. That thing works really, really well. And Austin, the guy that was operating the machine, he does a great job. He's obviously run that thing a good bit because he can manipulate the logs to go where he wants them to go, to push them right in on the trailer, and it's like a game of Tetris. He did a good job loading me. We got a pretty big load back there. So we'll get this back to the wood yard and we'll get it dumped and we'll wrap it up for the day. Well, does that look like a good spot? Might be back a little too far. Yeah, that should be all right. Get these straps off here. Trailer just fit back in there between them two other loads. Oh, one got my board. Not too bad. All right, so that's going to wrap things up for today. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Just real quick to answer another question that I get sometimes is that, you know, I'm certainly bringing wood into the wood yard quicker than I can process it. And my theory behind that is for two reasons. One, we're coming up on mud season like I referenced earlier. And once the mud gets here, I can't really be driving the truck and the trailer in and out of the wood yard without tearing things up really bad. So if I get as much wood in here as I can now, it should keep me going through the winter and I won't have to drive. My tree service knows that once it gets muddy down in here, I just can't take wood. Number two reason why I'm bringing it in at this rate is because I figure if I stay loyal to my tree service, he'll stay loyal to me. You know, when he calls, like today's plan for the video was to get that ash stack that we did earlier and then get all that oak and ash stacked in the back. Obviously we didn't get to all that because a phone call came in from the tree service and he had a load for me. So change of plans, I go and I take care of that. It's good for me, it's good for him. And if we keep each other happy, we have a great working relationship. So that's the reason why so much wood comes in quicker than I can process it. So hope that makes some kind of sense to y'all. So anyway, that's going to do it for today, and we're only a few days away from Christmas. So by the time you see next week's video, Christmas will have passed. I want to wish everyone Merry Christmas, and I hope you all have a great holiday with your family and your friends. Remember the reason for the season. We're all blessed to be here and be able to do things, you know, that we want to do. You know, this is work. This is hard work at times, but it's something that I enjoy, and I'm just blessed to be able to be able to do it. So Merry Christmas to you all, and I hope you have a great holiday. We'll see you next week.